For Fiona Geddes and her husband, a routine diaper change for their 2-year-old at their Toronto home became a parent's worst nightmare.
She's completely limp. She's not breathing. I rush over and I look at her, and she's turned completely blue. She was blue. She was unconscious. She wasn't responding in any way.
Their daughter was found in medical distress, prompting Geddes to fall back on her infant CPR training while her husband called 911. But she says they were put on hold for about 30 seconds.
We ended up hanging up. And it was probably about 5 more minutes before they called back to ask what our emergency was.
While she says she was able to get her daughter breathing again after a minute,
In the moment, it was terrifying. And those moments, you always hope that this will never, ever, ever happen, that you would ever need to call 911 in these emergency situations. But you always expect that you're going to have that backup when you do need them.
Toronto Police's 911 Centre has a standard of answering 90% of 911 calls within 15 seconds. CityNews wasn't able to verify the exact call times and what ultimately happened when they phoned in. But as we've reported in the past, there have been concerns about longer wait times on occasion, especially to speak with paramedic call takers and dispatchers. A Toronto paramedic spokesperson declined to speak about the general issue on camera, but in a statement, they encouraged people to phone 911 and to stay on until someone answers. They also said they've moved to hire more call takers and dispatchers this year to handle those who are transferred to them after police operators take the initial call. Geddes says she's fortunate to have had infant CPR training, but adds many may not. So what should you do if you're not trained and come across a young child in need of help?
The biggest thing to do is take a deep breath and see exactly what's going on.
Michael Nemeth is a CPR instructor with the Canadian Red Cross. He says strong coughs are a good sign, but if those become weak or high-pitched wheezing forms, then intervention is needed.
Good, strong, forceful back blows in combination of good, strong, forceful chest thrusts. What the idea is you're taking all residual air that's left in the lungs and you're bellowing it by knocking it up and out to hit that object and to clear it out.
While he says 911 should be called, someone ideally should start working on the child as soon as possible. For children under 1 that are responsive, he says to get on the ground and straddle them on your arm, turn them over, and while supporting their cheeks,
between the shoulder blades, you're going to do 5 good back blows. And what that's doing is it's taking residual air from the lungs and knocking it up to that object. Hopefully that object will fall out.
And if still needed,
while I still have support of their head between the nipple line, with 2 fingers, I'm going to do 5 chest thrusts.
If they're unresponsive, Nemeth says check their mouth for any objects while turning their head to the side while they're on the floor.
You find a landmark and you begin your chest compressions. And what you're going to do is you're going to do 15 chest compressions.
Before the worst happens, he encourages people to take a first aid class and or download the Canadian Red Cross's first aid app, which has detailed instructions.
Prevention's the biggest thing more than anything.
For more on what you should do in an emergency, visit citynews.ca. In Toronto, Nick Westoll, City News.